You too, Brian Phillips. We're gonna cut this bag and we're gonna open it right now. Oh my goodness. What do we have here? It's not coming out.
What do you have?
I know what we have, and I'm quite excited for this. So, you guys know that I have, well, I just ripped the packaging, but, oh, looks like I missed one G there.
Okay.
It says, Baofeng. And you're like, that isn't an airplane. No, it's not an airplane. But what this is an awesome radio. Like a transmitter radio. Why do I need a transmitter radio? Why do I need this, camera crew?
So that you can talk to me while you're flying through the air.
Safely.
Safely.
Okay, so when I was at training in Quincy, Illinois, for PPG, powered paragliding, I used a Baofeng transmitter radio, I believe. And I'm trying to remember, they have a Kenwood plug on here. Okay, so the part of the reason that I have this now is because I didn't realize at the time that I went to training, but this is like the super popular choice amongst a lot of different people that use radios for off-roading, motorcycling, different things like that. And then of course, you know, camping and all that good stuff, kids playing in giant yards like what we've got here. And it does come with a little lanyard here. And then it comes with a clip. The clip is secured with 2 screws, so it's actually quite a robust clip. If you look here, it's a very strong spring clip. So I believe I need that on there. I'm not 100% sure yet because I haven't actually played with this yet. This is a true unboxing. But it comes with a charging base, which is really nice. You can just drop it in. You don't have to mess with it, which is really nice. One of the things that we're trying to do, there's no anti-slip round things. I wonder if that's in a manual somewhere. Features long communication range, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, okay, so it's got all this crap. I don't know what that matters. I think that's everything. I'm surprised they didn't come with those non-slip things.
Yeah.
Usually they would. So we'll see what happens when we open the other one, because we ordered this as a 2-piece kit, just to be clear. And this does not come with it. That is a second item. So I'm gonna show that item as well in just mere moments. But I just want to show you, I got this as a 2-piece. You could get it as a 3-piece, a 1-piece, a 4-piece. I think they offer a 6-piece too. But the idea is whatever size your group is going to be is what you need, okay? So they all come with their whole shebang. It's got everything. Looks like they just don't come with those.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a little bit weird that it didn't come with it, but. So anyway, what you guys are probably thinking to yourself is like, yeah, but Brian, just use your cell phone. Yeah, actually that's what I did on my 10th flight. And my helmet, which you guys may be seeing in this video before or after, or as part of a series of videos that have been released up to the time when I actually start sharing some more of my PPG flying experience, and I just have a shipping label in here, so I'm gonna take that over. But we've been trying to share the whole experience as much as we can of when we started into the PPG transformation, if you will. It's not like we're giving up on RC or anything, or like we're done with it or anything like that at all. And we don't want that to be misunderstood at all, because that's not at all what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're just adding that to our life. And so as you can see out here, this green area, and it's just spring in 2022. You can see back here behind the tree line, we've done some filming back there. I think we did the P40 in that backfield. We did the Osprey, or sorry, not the Osprey. We haven't done an Osprey yet. I'd like to do an Osprey. If you have an Osprey, get a hold of us in the About tab. But we did fly back there a few times. We did the V1200, or no, V700 back there. So we've done a few different real fast planes. Gosh, there was one other one we did back there. It doesn't really matter. The point is, we own that land back there, and we've owned that ever since. You can kind of see where the grass goes. And last year, toward the end of the year, we were approached by the neighbors here, and they wanted to sell their property. They had some changes in their lifestyle, and so they decided to move on to a different opportunity. And so we of course bought it, and we wanted it a lot. We wanted it a lot. And so we bought it. And now what that's gonna facilitate is the ability to fly manned aircraft with a higher safety margin. And so we've been kind of sharing this process with you because it's an unusual circumstance to be able to have the land and this cool setup that we have. We've worked really hard for it, Megan and I, not just me, Megan and I together. And YouTube has played a very small part of that, just to be perfectly frank, just in case there was any doubt about it. It's played a part, a legitimate part, but it's been a very small part. Not nothing, but it's a small part. Let's call it like a 2%. Because most of what we have here has been from hard work for decades before we even started our YouTube channel.
Time-wise, that's a big part.
It is now, because
Yes.
it's becoming a larger percentage of our time.
Yeah.
And so chargers that come with this, okay, it looks like the output is 10 volts at 0.5 amps. That's kind of a weird size, but I'll just plug these in as we're talking. So the reason we're sharing this experience with you and sharing you know, where the land lays, we have just under 23 acres between these two pieces of property, and it goes back into the trees. And I don't know that we've shared much back there, but let's talk about this as we go. This plugs in, drum connector. Okay, then the docking station is just, it's got a little green power light on it. You drop this down in there, and it does not key in. That's quite strange. Why would it not key? Oh, you have to lock it in, or you can also store it there anyway without it being in the actual charge contact. You see how that works? There's a little rail there. So anyway, getting back to the point, the reason that we share this with you is because obviously we're living this aviation lifestyle. The YouTube creator lifestyle is just, you know, part of our lifestyle right now. And we're working toward making that kind of like the full-time thing. But it takes many years and or very, very good luck. And even with many years, some good luck along the way and lots of hard work. But soon, I would like to be flying off of this property. Now we have that sort of tentatively leased out for agricultural use. They're gonna take alfalfa here and grass there. And then we have kind of a section that's partitioned off, an agreement between the man that's gonna take the hay off of this and us. And then we're gonna take hay off the front of our property, which you guys already know. We take hay, we process hay, we hay the yard. And then we put it in a pile and sell it when people wanna buy the hay. So it's just one way that we use this land for agricultural use. And we have many different things that have kind of come into helping us to facilitate the ownership of this land, whether it's paying for it, which is tough because it's expensive, or using it to keep classifications, like over there, USDA farm, and that's important if you wanna get the tax protection, if you will, by using it for agricultural use. And continued agricultural use also protects us on a county level, which of course, you know, most of you guys are in a county that's within a state, within the country. If you're in North America, if you're not familiar with the North American government structure, that's kind of how we are. So we're not in a city, but we're in a jurisdiction, and the jurisdiction is in the county, and then the county has control over our taxes and things like that for the property. So all of this stuff gets rolled up into this ball of wax, which is, I want to fly airplanes at some point off of there. And I've got designs that we've been working through. We've been working with an architect to come up with site planning for that, so that when we do our runway aircraft utilization out there, we don't undermine our ability to sell it later. You know, if we would ever move on to a bigger piece of property with a better landing strip, or, you know, maybe a little bit further out of town, when we can facilitate that as part of our lifestyle. Because right now I work a 50 to 60 hour a week job, and we located ourselves here largely to facilitate my territory at RMH Systems, which is where I work, and I work on industrial scales. So we don't talk about a lot of that in our channel just because it's not necessarily relevant to what we do here. But these walkie-talkies are kind of a cool thing because it's such a small detail within the greater, bigger picture, but it is really cool to work on something for decades. Really decades. Yeah, decades. For me, many decades. I'm old. Is it many decades? Can you say many?
Well,
we're only like almost 4 decades old.
Yeah.
But it's
I don't know
been
if it's
decades.
like many, but it's been
Multiple.
years.
It's been years, many years.
Yeah, for sure.
Of hard work to get to a particular spot and do some things that you wanted to do for many, many years. So if you're in the aviation lifestyle, and when I say that, I mean, obviously we do radio controlled airplanes.
Yes.
I mean, that's not really a question because you're on Brian Phillips RC.
Obviously.
This one's gonna charge too. But we also, you know, we fly helicopters, we do radio controlled, you know, cars and different strange things like hoverboards and, you know, I mean, leaf blowers, those are really popular on the channel. Small mini chainsaws, big chainsaws.
Leaf blowers.
Leaf blowers, those are all really popular. Interestingly enough, manual tree trimmers, just all these different things that fall in, air chucks, obviously.
That was a big
Air chucks are a big one.
Yeah.
Although we did have kittens that we shamelessly brought up.
Yes.
Cat trees,
Yep.
furniture.
Yes.
I mean, you get it all on Brian Phillips RC. But the idea is, you know, part of what we do here on Brian Phillips RC is helping to facilitate how we got where we are and what our objectives are, what we're trying to do. And so this is really cool. It's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing because it's like the culmination of many, 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 many years of hard work needing this. So it's really cool for me. Now, you guys might not think it's very cool. I hope you do. But really all this is just a regular, reasonably simple walkie-talkie. Turns on. Okay. And the reason that this is important is because we're going to use them to communicate from the ground to me in the air. And now these are going to be like real walkie-talkies. Channel 455, 425. Hopefully that's a legal channel. Hello, hello. If you want to just show the people. I have this knob, turns it on and turns it up. So it's very similar to other. There's also a light.
Channel mode.
Went to an FM radio, which I didn't realize there was an FM radio. Here, let's see. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let's see what happens. I didn't even know that worked. Oh, so that goes back and forth. Push to talk, push to talk.
Ooh, yep.
And then it changes the color on the display from purple to red. And then like when you do it, my color changes. And then there's also monitor if you talk. If you talk,
If I talk to
you don't need to do that. You just talk.
just talk.
Nothing. Okay. So it's got normal functions that people would use, and you can change the band. And then you can also type in a different.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And see, I didn't even know any of those things exist. There's also a light here. I'm not sure how to turn the light on. VFR or MR.
Frequency mode. Channel mode.
See how it's channel mode
Frequency mode.
or frequency mode. Monitor. Okay, so you're just listening. Okay, and then
Channel mode.
there's some way to put the light on, but I don't even exactly know how to turn it on because there is a light. There's beep, beep, save, step, VOX, WN, SQL, scan, save.
Frequency mode.
Okay, now I'm gonna press this and I'm gonna seek. I don't know if it's gonna seek up or down. I think currently it's, I just wanna see if it picks up on anything. It's the FM channel. So let's go to, as you can see, there's lots of different things going on here that I don't know much about. And so I need to be a little bit careful, because if I go...
Frequency mode. Channel mode. 3, 2, 1.
See, now they match. Hello, hello. And you can see that light come on. This is the other big thing that I have to work out, is that there is a Kenwood plug here that would normally be used to go out to a handset or a push-to-talk set, which would be like a CB radio. And what I want to do is I want to get a Bluetooth adapter that's going to allow me to hook up to my headset in my helmet. Now, if you're only talking with one person or a group of people that don't mind using cell phones, we can actually do that with my helmet, and I'll show you that next. But what we're going to do is go through the rest of this package. This is a chest mount rig, which also came from Banggood. Obviously, we'll put links to these things in the video description below. But when you're flying, you have to be really mindful that getting into your pockets may be inaccessible. And especially as an inexperienced pilot, you need something that will hold on to your stuff. So the chest rig works really nice because you can put this on and it will, we may have to adjust it real briefly here, but I'm gonna see if the camera crew can just clip it for me. Is it already gonna reach?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to kind of show them a little bit what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, I'll have to pause and then adjust it and then show them clipping it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I want you guys to see that I can actually adjust this pretty easy myself. See, It's got the tail here. Now, one thing I'm gonna recommend you do is if you're using this for PPG like I am, and I don't know, maybe you're using it for airsoft battles or, you know, riding a bicycle or whatever, and you wanna have something on your chest, or you have a camera that you wanna mount here. And then, I mean, I would imagine that we'll probably have a camera mounted somewhere, because anything on the helmet is subject to getting caught up with the strings. Like I already get caught on stuff with the helmet as it is. So, but I just wanted to show you that I can get to some of this stuff, but you know, you're not gonna adjust this every single time you get on. You're just gonna basically make your adjustments and then go with it. So as I adjust it, let's talk a little bit more about the rationale behind this video. So really, the reason that we're sharing this with you, and you can also unclip these things too. The reason we're sharing all this stuff with you guys is that for us, there were so many different steps involved with getting into PPG. And I mean, you don't need a huge property to do PPG, but if you're planning on taking off and landing from your own property, which is fully legal, then you do have to kind of set things up so that you're giving yourself the best chance for success, which actually something else happened this week, which is really cool. So as you can see, we have a power line right there. We built our property, we had to get power pulled out, and it was quite expensive. Will that clip? So as we, oh, maybe I'm hitting my mic too.
Wait, there's a clip back here.
Oh, there
I
is?
can sort of adjust
Oh, really?
while they look out the window.
So what I was gonna say is, we had to pay to put in the power poles and bring the power from where it was at the end of our street. Is it on? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was pretty simple. Now, could I do that myself though?
But if it's clipped back there,
There's also top adjustments here.
there you go.
So that'll bring it down
Because it
some.
seems high on
Well, think about this. I have a clip here. That clip will be under here. Oh, shoot, there's the mic. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
This is my mic. Wireless 2. Wireless Go 2.
roads.
Because Megan and I both have one. So I would have a clip for my chest rig here, and then my harness would come down and it would go through to the middle of my legs and back to here, and then they clip together here in the middle. Okay, so it's like a 5-point harness. And then when I fly, everything kind of pulls up under my legs and I sit in a comfortable seat. But then this gets everything right where you need it. And so provided you got your wireless, you know, Bluetooth or whatever, it's very simple. Now you can also have a wired plug that would go up to a push-to-talk on your helmet. And that's what a lot of guys will do, is they'll build these hearing protection that clicks out and goes down. I found that using earplugs while wearing a helmet worked phenomenally. And I'm talking 8,400 RPMs right there. It's noisy, guys. Okay, so that's there. You got a nice, simple setup. And then this is actually designed, I think what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to flip this around twice. Like that, something like that, okay? And then that keeps it so that even if you crash into a tree or have something bad happen, that you're not separated from your comms. Because really, especially as a beginner pilot, you see how this is hitting my cheek? You can also get shorter antennas. I don't like that it hits my cheek because my helmet's gonna hit that. So I don't know if I need to, oh, you know what I can do? I wonder if I could just like turn that. Like just go the other way? I don't know. We'll have to see if I can adjust that down. But the reason we're showing this, yeah, it's down further now.
The whole thing can come down.
Yeah, that's a lot better. But the reason we're showing you this, let's see if my cell phone fits in here. Camera crew's using another cell phone, but I'm curious if this will fit in there. Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So when you're flying, you've got your hands up here, you're braking, you've got throttle attached, in my case, to my right hand. If you're left hand dominant, you can actually run it on your left hand too, but I run mine on my right hand. And it's literally strapped on there, so like if you let go like this, it's still attached and going through your thumb. So you can, like this would be hard to press that button, but people will put a push to talk up here, either on a headset or they'll have a wireless configuration that's set up. And so my hope is, what I wanna do is I wanna set up a Bluetooth that's gonna go into my helmet. And I have a helmet that I'm gonna put on in a minute, and you guys can see what I'm talking about, and then show them the back. So this chest rig, I need that to be up high.
And there is a couple more inches of adjustability back here. There's quite a bit.
And I mean, I'm not like a small guy. In PPG world, I would be on the higher end of weight and girth in all areas, you know, because what? Why are you laughing at me? So if you're getting into PPG, you're gonna find out there's a lot more smaller people that do PPG than big people that do PPG. And that's partly just because the size of the motors and the requirement to run. And I wouldn't say that I'm like in terrible shape, but I'm certainly a little bit heavier than the average guy in my weight class, because I work with my hands and stuff. And there's people that are my size and weight that are in a lot better shape. I'm not trying to put myself in some weird circumstance there, but the idea is I can still run, I'm healthy. And that's one of the big holdups for people that are doing PPG. Now, at some point, the reason we're talking about all the land is Mid-American had put this power, and that's our utility. And so they put in the power, and we just 2 days ago, just finally got done negotiating to get the price to a point where we can bear the cost to bury the lines, because their initial quote was higher than we thought it was fair. And we worked with the people that we worked with, and then we worked with their bosses, and then we worked with his boss. And his boss was kind enough to take some time to communicate with me on, I think it was 2 or 3 occasions. I think maybe it was 3, but yeah, 3 in follow-up.
Yeah.
It was 2 occasions, and then he came back with some answers and followed up with me and kind of gave us their, you know, final verdict, if you want to call it that. But as with many other public utilities, they have, it's called a tariff that they work within. And the tariff is like the list of instructions and rules that the county, state, whatever jurisdiction that's over that public utility sets for them. And so they have certain bidding practices that they have to use to cover their costs and to not give preferential treatment to people that are really nice to them that happen to also fly airplanes and are cool. They have to still charge them the same, which sucks. So anyway, in this case, we ended up finding what we felt was like a weak spot, and we attacked it, and then they agreed. And so they took a significant amount of money off of the bid. And I tried to put it in a way that the tariff would be in support of what we were saying. And so if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're arguing with the utility to bring down the cost of a utility project like this, don't be afraid to talk to them. Do talk to them. Don't be a jerk, because if you're a jerk, you're not going to get anything from them. And, you know, I mean, if you plan on doing litigation, just understand that litigation against a public utility is pretty much a waste of time. You'd be better off to probably, you know, just not do that. It's going to be cheaper to just get what you want out of it. Or try to do as much of it privately as you can. And then you can control it and spend a little bit less. But burying power lines is not free. So we're gonna bury these power lines, and that's gonna give us several different approaches that would have otherwise been hemmed out by the 40-foot power poles. Those are 40-foot poles. So 40-foot poles with varying penetration to keep the height about the same, I believe is how that works. So that's really exciting and that's new. And so when we talk about these parts of our life, we want to share, oh, and then also I want to talk about if this is going to work on a docking station or not, okay? Because these are questions I had when I was going to buy these. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. And I mean, we can do a range test or something like that, but to be perfectly frank, this sort of system is well tried or true. It's been around forever. And I don't necessarily think that that's a huge good thing to do. I don't think it's kind of a waste of time. But these are small and very long range and powerful. Oh, is that the light? There's a light on here and I'm just not sure how to get the light to work. That's the only thing I can't figure out. There is a manual too, right?
We'll have to, yeah, and I'm sure we'll mess with them too.
So anyway, there is a user's manual. We might take a second and look through that like usual, but I just wanted to show you guys, the cool thing is, you know, even when you're doing PPG, you can still get to this stuff. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that it's harder to get to your chest plug to clip in, and people's rigs have, you know, clips in different spots. So it just depends on your hook points for your harness, and you know whether or not you're doing paragliding or if you're doing powered paragliding are going to be different. And then the other thing too is the way I figure is if I fly an ultralight, which is what I'm aiming for in the future, and then like if we ever run into lots and lots of money, then I'd like to fly real airplanes over here, but of course that requires a private pilot license or a sport license or a light sport or whatever it is. And I'm not in a position in my life to do that, and I'm not in a position to afford that. So at some point in the future, it'd be cool if we could do that, but right now we're not doing that. So if you're watching this and we're flying airplanes on the channel on a regular basis, then you get to watch the transition from where we started to where we ended up. And it's, you know, to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff we do on YouTube, people are, the lesser popular videos may not be like the most popular videos because, to be honest with you, sometimes we're just doing them for us. Yeah. And it's really cool because we can look back and see when we were building the stupid bridge back here in our property, right when we bought it, and then... Or
slightly before.
Or slightly before. Depending on
with permission of the landowner.
With permission of the landowner that we were buying our land from.
Yes.
But it's really cool to be able to look back and see the different points where you were like on the plateaus of your hard effort.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see that stuff. So without further ado, I'm gonna grab the helmet and just show you my plans. Obviously, there are a million choices. Yes. And that's part of the reason why we did this video, because the link to this exact item will be, and this is a 2-piece item is the way I got it from Banggood, okay? Like I said, you buy it as a 4-piece, you buy it as a 6-piece. They have a bunch of different pieces. But remember, Chinese are bad at nomenclature. So just remember, pieces means individual kits, okay? If they talk about 2 of something, you have to like rationalize it the way the Chinese will. So be careful that you get the right count of what you expect to get. And by the way, this clip, maybe we should show them a clip too before we continue on, because the clip, I think the clip would be a helpful thing to have. I'm just grabbing a screwdriver. This is a Phillips screwdriver, nothing special about it. So these 2 screws.
Your main reason for wanting to have a radio system.
For safety.
Well, yeah. To be able to communicate with me on the ground, or if you're working with a friend or whatever.
And also at my last flight, my 10th flight, which was actually here in Central Iowa, which is really cool. It was the first time I flew in Central Iowa on my home territory. I didn't fly here. I flew about a 25-minute drive from here at one of my a fellow YouTuber's place. And his name is Kevin Camp. So you should check out his YouTube channel. He actually is building airplanes. He is a pilot and all sorts of cool things that he's got going on in his life, which is really neat. And I ran into him through YouTube, even though we lived 20 minutes away from each other. I would have had no clue who he was, except that he flew through my freaking trees one day. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And he flew through this gap at the end of the runway. Let's point it out real quick. Let's just show the people.
Can you see from here?
You'll be able to see when you go outside.
Oh, okay.
He flew through that hole in the trees when he was powered paragliding, he came down the runway and flew through there, and then he went around, and I mean, crazy thing is, so the other night when we were flying, he did the same thing except on a much more extreme and tight flight circuit. And it was after I had landed, I said, hey, I want you to use my rig and see if you think the brakes are adjusted well. And of course he flies an older rig, and so he was like really happy with the way it worked, and he was really happy with the wing and everything, and he would use a more advanced wing than what I have. But he flew that thing like, it just made me think, wow, that's awesome. So it reminds me of the way I fly now compared to if I were to go back in time and watch like the Sport Cub SUMX or one of my initial videos. And so when I talk to you guys in the comments and I'm like, you know, keep at it, you know, don't quit. And when you're flying, your radio controlled airplane and you have a crash, and I'm like, just keep flying, you know, don't quit. Don't come home after you crash. Like, sorry, hit the call button. You know, fly another flight before you come home. Bring like the everyday flyer with you when you're doing a maiden. And if you crash on maiden, fly the other one so you end up with like a good positive experience to keep you reinforced. Okay, so clips on there. So that's pretty good. It's got a thick opening, so let's try it on the belt. It's a regular like leather belt on men's pants. Really good, solid, doesn't move around at all. Doesn't feel like it's gonna come undone easily. So that's pretty good. Would it clip on a shirt? I wouldn't probably plan on that. So then does it still fit in this pocket? I'm gonna just turn it the other way. Oh yeah, it still goes for sure. And there's a million different ways you could strap that in there. I went around twice that way just to see how that goes. I don't like that antenna comes up on my face.
Yeah, we might have to.
They do sell short antennas, by the way. And then they sell different antennas that have different angles and things to them. So we'll keep you guys appraised of what we come up with, and we'll go through the manual off camera and figure out how to turn the light on, because it's really cool that it has that. I also like the fact that you can lay this down for stowing your unit without actually charging it, which is kind of cool. It looks like it fits backward or forward, but then it locks into it keys in when you're charging, and there's a distinct changing condition on the light. So that's definitely a good thing. I want to have this stuff set up so that it's quick, easy to grab, and ready to rock and roll. All my powered paragliding stuff is set up so that I can grab it, load it into the truck, put it on the back of the truck, and go where I'm going. But at some point in the reasonably near future, I want to be able to just go out on my driveway and take off, which is part of the reason why I want those power lines to be gone here. And of course, the same is true for radio controlled airplanes. The same is true when there's a sunset and $1 million view, and you want to be able to see it, and you don't want to see a foam pole. The foam pole, view issue has not really been a big issue since we moved.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a lot cooler when it's gone.
Yeah.
So, but some jerk mounted, looks like a bat house on the side.
Yeah, we'll
of
have to ask whoever that was to come.
I don't know. We're probably gonna have to remove it since there's a beehive in there. And no bats.
No bats.
And it's weirdly matches the exact color of our house.
That's really nice of them to do that.
Sure how that worked, but I'm sure it's probably against the rules to do that too, by the way. Anyway, so getting back to the point, this has been like kind of an all over the place video. Yes. We're gonna get the helmet just to show you what it looks like. I won't be able to, I don't know if I can call while you're filming.
No, because it'll interrupt. It'll interrupt the filming.
It will?
Yeah.
Oh.
If I accept the call, it'll stop the recording.
Well, then maybe I can call somebody else like Esteban. We can have an Esteban call. Awesome idea. That'd be the best YouTube video ever. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have 2 bags and then the actual rig. And this is one of the 2 bags that I carry when I'm going to fly. It just happened to have straps and stuff. That'd be more for like somebody that's gonna be launching from a hillside in a paragliding fashion. By the way, if you guys are thinking about getting into powered paragliding, I'm gonna just take a second and plug flyppg.com. They are the people that I went to training with. I'm just gonna say this right out. I've said this before. Look, this is my spare prop, oil, battery, adapters, chargers, because yes, I have an electric start on my unit. I have all the stuff so that if I need to get something, it's all in here. Okay, I have gloves, paper towels if I spill a little bit of oil, all that stuff that would be potentially necessary to facilitate flight. Because I want everything grab and go. Okay, so, and we go over some of this in other parts of the video, but this is the helmet. Now, I've actually used this now at least once, and you hear some things rattling around in there. So we'll link to the helmet too. I'm not sure if this is just gonna be like a bunch of links to all the PPG stuff. And one other thing too, while the camera crew was off getting her things ready and I was grabbing that bag from the garage, see that side plug or side clip? That's the back clip. You don't have to clip the back, you just clip that. And you can go under your arms, it's super easy. You can either feed your arms through this or you can just unhook it. But I find it a lot easier to just see because it likes to twist on your shoulder. So I don't know, did that untwist for me?
It did.
So the ones we had at training were real thin and they were real hard to get located on your chest. And maybe it's just from wear and tear from being used so much. And for your information, we have scheduled a direct call to the ESTEBAN. And it's gonna be happening live and in person in your moments. So stay tuned for that. So you're getting ready to fly, you put this thing in here. This comes from Banggood. These come from Banggood. And the reason that it's so cool is because we've had this long-standing relationship with Banggood, and now we're finally able to bring you a product that is specifically oriented to the hobby. And I mean, I was just searching to buy them. And of course you could, probably buy them from your trainer. They'll have, some sort of a relationship set up. And not to take anything away from these guys.
We looked at several different radio options.
You can get a lot nicer than this too. This is like the cheapest ones.
And yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's just the helmet bag, which kind of looks like you've got a head in a bag. And then I have these hearing protection that's in here. Okay, so I'll show you. I work in industrial plants for a living. And so I actually have a list of things to do still on this. I'm gonna paint it. This is crystal candy. So you could use like a Mentos tub, tin. And the way this works is these things come off of the strings and then you can put those in. And then when you put your helmet on, you have your hearing protection built in. And there's quite a little bit of hearing protection just from having this helmet on the way that it's designed. And so usually I open it up and then I can kind of open it like this. But I don't want to put it on yet because I got to put the battery in. The battery goes right here. See that little red tab pulls out? Then this is the battery. So I can bring that in, charge it, or you can leave it in here and charge it. Now, one thing about this thing that's hard is it's hard to open this when you got your fingers covered up with like gloves, for instance. And the pins, you got to make sure the pins go back. And you can see if you look down in there, but of course that's easy when it's daytime and you've got good lighting, but when you're out at a flying field, it may not be that way. Because a lot of times you're flying PPG, it's dark or near dark. It's right at twilight usually. So I'm gonna try to put this cover back on, which it looks like it's not gonna go, but it is gonna go because it will go. So I'm gonna make it go. This is the worst part of this whole configuration, is just dealing with this little battery.
And you've been trying to take the battery out to bring it in and
for charging.
To keep
I said that backward too. It's supposed to go with the pins toward the front of the helmet. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it wouldn't drop down in there. And so why did I unplug the battery? Because I don't want the battery to just die, because then I lose my Bluetooth. So I can turn this on. Now it's on. And that's just like a Sena system if anybody's ever used it. So I'm not gonna put in my hearing protection like I would normally. All this stuff is just gonna be in here loose, okay? So this is a DOT rated helmet. And yes, on my last flight, I face planted and sprained both ankles. The right ankle, pretty bad. The left ankle, not very bad. But it was still awesome. And I'm really glad I learned a lot making that mistake. So I'm gonna put this on. And you guys may have already seen this, but then I have, get used to the controls. Remember, even these little things catch strings. So you got to be careful. And I landed like this with it opened and it was fine, okay? This drops down. You can open it like that, okay? And then you can grab under here. There's a release right here. See how I've got two hands on it? That'd be my throttle hand. So whatever you're doing, you gotta try to see about where you're gonna actually do it in normal flight. When you're a skilled pilot, you'll be able to let go of things and do what you need to do. Okay, so I don't know if I just press that button, it may call. And I can tell that it's already connected. So I'm gonna call the ESTEBAN.
Except we're not gonna be able to hear it.
You're not gonna be able to hear it, but I'm gonna just talk to him. I'll take the mic and put it up there.
See you later.
Hey,
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Esteban, you're on with the world.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, everybody's doing good. I've stuck my mic up in my ear hole so they can hear
Okay.
you. And so now just imagine that you were talking to me and there was like
You were flying somewhere.
4,000 RPMs behind me just to maintain altitude.
All right.
How cool.
Your last words.
Hopefully not my last words. But as you guys can see, it's pretty cool because I have good communication through the Bluetooth. And then Esteban, my only Latin cameo is on the telephone. So I'm really hoping you guys can hear this. But Esteban, you are the man. Thanks for letting me call you in the public. And we'll have to fly together if it ever calms down.
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah, absolutely. It's, we are shopping right now for our trip, and I'm kind of shopped out now. I'm ready to go home and relax.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll call you a little bit later when we're not on a video. How about that?
All right, well, sounds good. See you later.
Okay. Thanks, Esteban. Bye. Okay, so there you have it, guys. I hope you could hear that. I tried to place my mic in a way that you could hear, hopefully the audio. I'm not sure if
I
that
think
worked.
you probably could a little bit because I could kind of hear it. So hopefully.
But the idea is, the last flight I had, which was my 10th flight, I was using my cell phone to communicate with the ground crew. In this case, that was Kevin, who was helping to keep me from making big mistakes that he could see, give me input, do this, do that, get a little more altitude here. And also to call out, like, hey, you're too low, you're too close, you need to get a little more clearance for the power lines, that sort of thing. So it's a lot like what I was doing at training. Now, the reason that I want the walkie-talkies is because cellular, there's a lot of stuff going on with cellular. The cool thing with cellular is that I can call you and then we can call somebody else and we can all be talking. But there is the risk of, somebody having a phone hang up and then you have to go in and actually, get out your phone. And even like when I was talking to Esteban, the volume was too loud for me because normally I'd have hearing protection in. So there's a volume knob here that goes up or down, depending on what you're doing. And then I can also play music, which is kind of cool. So I can play music, but then of course that'd be interrupted by communication with the phone, which would be more important in this application. But the radio would allow me to hear and communicate in addition to that. And I just wanted to show you the antenna. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this down a little bit more. We'll have to figure out how to keep that in this position. But as you can see, we've got, oh, my strap is under there now. We put the lanyard and the strap in there, okay? So the lanyard is just on there like that. And then we also figured out the light. You just press this once and it turns the light on, which is pretty cool. And then if you press it again, it does a flash. And if you press it again, it shuts off. And we're pressing the monitor button. Yep. Okay, so hello, 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 hello. So obviously it's working. And then at some point, I'm gonna have a push to talk wireless Bluetooth adapter that will go through my headset, which is pretty cool. So anyway, if you're thinking, goodness gracious, Brian, you got a lot of crap mounted to you, wait till I have a motor mounted to the back and a wing attached to my hands and all this stuff happening. And you're like, geez, that's a lot of stuff. It seems like that'd be pretty uncomfortable. And the truth is, it is a little bit uncomfortable. But the thing is, especially when you're a new pilot, I would like to have this removed. I would like to have this removed. But a huge part of my safety margins are coming from communicating with other people that can see that I can't see. So especially when it comes to clearance over trees, clearance over power lines that will hopefully be gone by the time we're flying here. You know, like, hey, it doesn't look like you're gonna make it in time. All those little bits, I mean, that could be the difference between a life-changing injury and, you know, just having a perfect unobstructed landing. Oh, and it might also be like, hey, you know, like, I gotta get going, you know, I got something to do, I'm gonna get out of here. Okay, so you know your safety margins are going, so it's like, hey, give me a few minutes to land. So just a couple of different things to think about. Obviously, I don't need to keep this on, so I'll go ahead and pull it off. I've been very happy with this helmet, by the way. I thought it was gonna be too heavy. It is fairly heavy. Now, also, you can see that this is on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just turn this off by pressing and holding that button. Okay, now I believe it shuts off. You could also press the button to make a call momentarily and it'll just redial. So that is something that I tried, and we always make sure to establish communications and then verify communications are working before you go up in the air. And you see this? Not very fun to take this out. I'm trying to use my pinky nail, and then I did get it out, but it's by the skin of my teeth. Look at that. And so those little pins, not my favorite part of this helmet. But to be honest with you, I'm happy with the helmet itself. I think it's a good helmet. I also think that my little solution is a good one, and that I can take this, I can put it into this little kit. It's well protected, the pins are protected. I'm gonna see if that fits in there too. It'd be nice if I could have all the critical members in the same spot. And then my hearing protection is also in there. And then that just snaps shut. So the idea is when I put this into my helmet bag, this stuff's all gonna be relevant to just the helmet. So there's lots of padding and things in here, so you can take a spot and just kind of tuck it in there, which is real nice, because then I've got a backup plan. See? And then that keeps from going in and scraping up your window on that. So really happy with this solution. I have used it once. It wasn't a super hot time. It may be a little bit too hot when it gets warm. And also there was some concern about hitting the netting with your helmet when you look back. I cannot see the wing above me when I have this opened. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be an issue for you guys or not, but even with a small lip, it will obstruct a lot of your upward motion because there's just stuff going on around you. So the other thing too is think about when you're making your decisions on what you want to buy and how you want it to function together. Make sure that everything is compatible. And if you're getting a really like high quality Sena system, you may want to think twice about that. I'm not saying that you won't end up there at some point, but this is so inexpensive that you can buy this, use it for a couple of seasons. Make sure you're going to actually get into the hobby or the lifestyle or whatever you want to call it. This is my kiting helmet, which was just like a $35 helmet.
Yeah, like a
just
BMX style.
BMX bike. Yeah. And keep in mind, really all you're doing with the helmet, it's not like, you're like, well, it's gonna stop you from falling to the ground. Obviously, what it's gonna do is when you land and you hit your face on the ground, instead of hitting your face on the ground and getting a concussion, you're gonna hit your helmet on the ground and get some grass in it. Or you're gonna land in a tree and break an arm, but then you're not knocked out and choking to death. So there's, you know, it's all about improving your odds in a disaster. Now, the other thing too is when you get dragged, which is one of the scariest things in PPG in my experience so far, and there's a lot more to come, I'm sure. The helmet will help you if you get dragged into a tree. Instead of hitting your head and get knocked out and then ending up dead because you get choked to death or something terrible, then you will have a little bit better chance at walking away from it. Not necessarily unscathed, but the idea is to just buy a little bit of, I don't want to say consciousness. Because as soon as you're knocked out, you're drowning, you're getting choked to death, you're getting electrocuted, caught on fire, whatever terrible thing it is, that's what's gonna happen. And you won't have anything to do about it. And even the people that are onlookers probably won't be able to help because you'll be too far away or up a tree or waiting for a, man lift or something like that. So anyway, on that extremely high note.
Yeah, thanks for that.
We just wanted to say special thanks to Banggood for helping us out these, and if you want to buy them, they're very inexpensive. And this thing, also very inexpensive, good solution, easy. I literally was thinking about trying to make one myself out of the additional fabric that we had from the cover that we built for the PPG motor. So I'm glad that we just got this because it was like super easy. I think it was like 10 bucks or 15 bucks or something. I mean, it was really cheap.
Yeah.
So really happy with all this. Obviously, the other thing that's cool is if the kids want to go out and play, this is a long range, real transmitter and receiver. It's not like a toy. It actually will go a long ways. And we're talking like kilometers or miles, okay? So there you have it, guys. The Bofang radios are no joke. They seem to work good so far in our kitchen. So like if you need to communicate through your kitchen, they'll for sure work. If you want to communicate to the other side of the house, they might even work. But I would say excited about this. This is the UV-5R, I believe is what they call this thing. Okay. And then also there is a release here, and that release, I believe, lets go of the battery. So you can take the battery off. That's an 1800 milliamp. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So that just goes in here and it shows all that stuff, which is pretty cool. And we were looking for this model. We were looking for this model before I even realized that Banggood sold them. So there you have it, guys. So real excited to be able to bring you something from Banggood that's somewhat of an exclusive to Banggood. I don't want to say they're exclusive to Banggood because you can buy them at other places. But we got those quick too. That was a North American distribution. So if you're ordered this overseas, there's lots of distribution overseas, which is really good with Banggood stuff. Obviously leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. This video is probably gonna cover more than just the transmitter, the radios, walkie-talkies. But what I'd like to do is when we get our Bluetooth module, I'd like to just show how that works. And we're gonna take a minute and evaluate how the audio came through on the helmet and just make sure that it wasn't totally lost. But if it was lost, I apologize, but I can hear great. And when I was flying for my 10th flight, which you're probably asking yourself, why didn't you film that, Brian? Well, partly because with PPG, the videos that I shared were happening in a training environment with people that knew what was going on. And they had multiple people watching and helping the whole time. Flying PPG, you know, if you're Tucker Gott and you've been doing it for 6 or 7 years before you even film your first flight and you're really good at it anyway, you know, it's different. People that try to film stuff that's dangerous early end up dead. So just give it some time. I'm not saying everybody's gonna die, but you just need to be a little bit careful because this is like real life territory now. It's not a model aircraft. You know, we are taking this very seriously. So, and I have real responsibilities to my family and to myself, obviously, to my employer, people that care about us, that want us to have success. And everybody's been backing us up, which is really good in this because they know we're gonna take it seriously. And I suggest that if you get into it, you do the same. But it's also very cool. So it's all about the risk reward, and you talk about the lot in training and, you know, in the PPG Bible and the PPG DVD with Captain Spock. It's with Spock, right? What's his name? Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it. That's right.
I did not see that.
You missed it. It's a Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk.
I mean,
not
yeah,
Spock.
We
Sorry.
will share things, but it's just going to be a
I
little
have
bit
to be-
slower. You
I
have to be confident.
safe.
The camera crew has to.
Or if we have somebody else, that can film for us.
Yeah.
We don't mind even showing some of the bloopers or botched landings, botched takeoffs, things like that. So we're not trying to hide behind that.
Right.
But we do want to do it in a safe environment. And the other night it would have been an otherwise safe environment. It just was not the right time.
Yeah.
So we probably won't honestly be filming flights until we might do some more kiting, things like that. Because I'm getting pretty good at that, and you have to be good at that to be able to fly safely. But once we get some of the probably 25 to 50 flights, then it's going to be to the point where I'm more comfortable. That's what I've been hearing from more than one source, that 50 flights is generally a rule of thumb to where you're going to be good enough to just, you know, like do it and do it safely. It'd be like riding a bike at that point.
Yep.
So spot landings are the other big thing I have to work on, which means I'm landing where I mean to land. It's strange because you wouldn't think it's that hard if you're used to flying radio controlled airplanes and you know about the principles of flight and all these things. You're like, well, how hard can it be? And then you're like, crap, I missed that 250-foot hole. Now I need to go try again. And next thing you know, you're spraining your ankles because you make a mistake. And so the reality is you're always learning. It's a cumulative thing. And with aviation stuff, especially aviation stuff in the like ultralight environment, you have to play it extra safe.
Yeah.
So, and the people that get killed doing PPG are either extremely inexperienced or like way super experienced and they're doing stupid crap. So we're just trying to kind of like miss those areas.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to improve our odds of success and minimize our odds at failure.
I think with the RC stuff, you're way more willing to show every little step and what mistakes. This is just a bigger safety thing. So
yeah, right. It's just going to be
it's just
going to be more paramount in this environment. So anyway, so if you're wondering why we haven't showed everything, that's part of the rationale. That's not all the rationale. Sometimes it's just a time function, and then the lighting is really bad. Sometimes, especially for flying PPG, you're going to be flying at twilight, and for us that means like sunset. So we do a lot of sunset flying for you guys here on the channel. So the thing that's cool about PPG is that there's just enough different requirements that it may work out good to where when we can't fly the RC, it's going to work out good. But there's going to be some nights where we have to make a decision, and that's going to be kind of terrible. I'm not looking forward to that. We're going to have to make a decide between what I want to do and what I want to do. And both are going to be cool. But this is going to be a bit of a time commitment on our end before you can really bring a lot of content. So be patient with us. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. So much more to come with our PPG experience. Obviously, you want to buy these things from the links in the video description below. Small commissions come to us from the people that you're buying them from. You don't pay any extra, but we get a small commission. That's never been hidden. This same thing here. Same thing if, well, I guess not necessarily with buying this stuff, but if you do go and you're checking out flyppg.com, just let them know that you heard about it from Brian Phillips RC, and they'll know that we helped direct you over there. And I think it's pretty evident, guys, that we're not, trying to pull any punches here. We have been very clear with training. You should definitely do training. You're gonna get the wing and think, how hard can it be? And you're gonna be like, holy crap, I suck at this. And you'll find out real quick within about 5 minutes that you need training. And then you're gonna get ready to fly your first flight and you'll be like scared to death still, even with training. Or maybe you won't be. Maybe you're just a nut job. But I'll tell you what, if you're not at least a little bit scared to do PPG, probably just don't, because you're more likely to kill yourself doing it. So, any other thoughts?
I think you've covered all the
different ways to die.
All the ways you could die.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, flyppg.com is another place you can check out. We don't really have commissions worked out on any of that, but if you let them know and you do the training there, I think you're going to be happy. But just make sure it's a good fit for you, because we never really know. You may hate the guy. You may think they're just the worst place ever to go, and whatever, that's fine.
They might not be anywhere close to you either.
Yeah, you might be, having to go 14-hour drive to get there. Or maybe you're in Florida and there's places that are better there. It just depends on what your lifestyle is. It depends on how much time you have. It depends on how much money you have to spend. It depends on if you want to travel or not. So there's so many factors that we're not even going to pretend that it's a good fit for everybody. But for us, it was the best fit. I felt like they understood what my needs were. They met my needs. They worked with us on kind of a weird schedule. We did it in December, which is weird. And we had reasonably good weather. They are located at a spot where the weather kind of misses them a little bit, which I just noticed that some Facebook post, Teresa, my trainer, did.
Oh,
and
really?
I thought that was really, that was true, because we were over there and I was like, how is it that you guys have such, good weather all the time? Because it's crappy in Iowa where I live.
And you weren't that far from us. And the weather was way worse here the week that you were gone, and it was not that bad for you.
Yeah, because there's just something about the Mississippi River Valley where they're located.
Yeah.
So, and that may be true of other trainers too. But again, we want to be really careful about what we recommend with PPG, because at the end of the day, it becomes really it's your baby, what you decide. And we're just here to kind of help you understand what our experience has been like. By the way, taking this thing off, super easy. It's nice to be able to know that you can do that without lots of struggle. But just keep in mind, every strap, every harness that you mount to yourself is one more thing to deal with. It's one more thing to have to take off, put away, and it's one more thing to make your flight slightly more uncomfortable. And by the way, once you get up in the air, my experience has been, granted I've only been flying during cold, is that it gets really cold really quick. So it's gonna be good to have extra layers when it's cold, but I'm not sure how that's gonna be when it's like 70 degrees out. So,
Or 100.
if it's 100 degrees out, yeah. And the thermal action will be worse when it's hotter. So anyway, guys, that's all you get for today. We hope that this video series has been helpful to you in your pursuit of PPG. Oh, and by the way, have I showed the PPG Bible?
I think we have, but I don't know how we're gonna put all of these different pieces together.
We don't know how it's gonna go, so we're just gonna mention it now. This is a PPG Bible. I think this is version 6. Yeah, it's a Bible 6.
Current.
Yeah, so I think that's the latest and greatest. It runs around $50 or so, and we'll have links to it, obviously. You can help support us by buying it from the links. But if you don't buy from the links, get it from the library, get it from a buddy, read the whole thing. And if you're thinking about getting into it, it's a perfect time to read the book. Don't get into it and then read the book like I did. That was stupid. I could have read the book and learned a lot before I even started spending money, which would have been smart. So, and you'll get on YouTube and you'll think, oh man, Tucker, he's good. And Tucker is good. But the thing is, just remember, you have to keep in mind, like, watch the way that I fly a radio controlled airplane compared to what I flew an airplane 7 years ago. I mean, I wasn't very good and I'm pretty good now. I'm not the best pilot out there. There's lots of better pilots than me, a lot better than me, by the way. Not just a little, a lot. And so but I'm always improving and I practice a lot. So it makes a big difference. Now, go watch Tucker and you go all the way to video number 1. He was already an expert when he started. So you need to keep that in mind. This is different, going from complete novice that's interested to I've now flown and not died, but thought I would more than once, and into the future. So hopefully things will continue to improve and evolve into something that's entertaining, and we can kind of wrap this up with a bow. So we appreciate you guys as always. If you want to help support us and you don't want to buy the radios, transmitters, walkie-talkies, helmets, set up training through these guys, buy the Bible, 6.0 PPG Bible, chest rig, things like that we're kind of like marketing, if you want to call it that, to help support us in this effort, then the best thing you can do is click the bell for notifications, watch the videos, the whole video, leave comments, and then obviously share with your buddies that might be interested and they can follow along. And then also we do Patreon and PayPal if you want to support us in that way, because maybe this other stuff just doesn't make sense and you just want to throw us a bone in that way because, you know, you already got walkie-talkies, you already got a rig, but we were able to help you out in some special way and you want to thank us with a few bucks. We always appreciate that. And it does brighten our day. So we appreciate you guys being here with us on Brian Phillips RC. Please stay tuned. We always have content coming out. We're trying to stick to a schedule of a couple videos per week, where we've got, like, you know, a little bit of a revisit and then maybe something new every week. It doesn't always work out because Mother Nature has been terrible this spring, as is typical in spring in Iowa. But we're going to do our best to work around Mother Nature. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more.